Staying on board for force protection, channel 73.
Yes, sir. I said that the motor vessel Nautical 7 is under attack at this moment. Approximately 120 nautical miles to the west-southwest on a bearing of 250. The Montreal sending their helicopter now to respond.
Thanks for coming, lads.
Copies, break, paddles, Palomino 16 with you for control, over.
When HMCS Winnipeg left Canada, the last thing on the minds of most of its crew was hunting pirates. And yet within weeks, the government would change its mission and this warship would be bound for the Gulf of Aden off Somalia. The Canadian Navy considers this mission its most dangerous since Korea. And on our voyage, we'll show you how Canadian sailors track pirates in these waters, but also the legal roadblocks that limit just how successful their mission can be.
If someone would have told me even 5 years ago that I would be captain of a warship and that I would be out hunting pirates, I would have thought they're crazy. But that's, I think, an indication of how quickly the international environment can change.
HMCS Winnipeg was already at sea when several high-profile pirate attacks took place.
At 3 o'clock.
The ship was rerouted to do something the Canadian Navy had never even trained for in its history:
using homemade
hunt
explosives.
pirates.
Isa Ibrahim from Westbury
Within days of arriving in the Gulf of Aden, the first test, a pirate skiff, a smaller vessel here, had attacked a cargo ship, and a British Navy tanker was giving chase. The Winnipeg's helicopter swung overhead, firing warning shots. A first for a Canadian maritime chopper.
16 knots, thank you.
3 bursts, fire! As night fell, the warship caught up. The next warning shot scared the pirates enough to stop. But even as the Canadians assaulted the pirate speedboat, they knew there was little they could do. To start,
British troops in
the
Afghanistan
pirates
need as
got rid
many
of the
helicopters as they can
Unlike
get to help
on
in
the
their
shore,
fight
where
against the
someone
Taliban.
tries to throw a weapon out of a car or something like that, you can usually retrieve it. Out here, when you've got 6,000 feet of water to deal with, as soon as you dump those weapons over the side, they're gone forever.
As the weeks wore on, the Canadians thwarted more attacks, stopped pirates, and found boatloads of weapons.
He was killed
Never
in an
once
explosion
detained
in
a
Helmand
single
yesterday.
pirate.
His family have been told.
Up there! Up in the
The
front!
flooring company,
Unless they are
Allied
caught in the
Carpets, has
act
gone into
actually
administration,
hijacking a
putting more
vessel,
than 1,100
there is
jobs
nothing
at risk.
illegal.
51
But
stores
Canada's
have been
Navy
sold,
is under
saving
orders
400
not to
posts,
intervene
but more than
once an attack
150
is
branches face
successful,
closure.
fearing hostages might
The
be
Vatican
killed.
says the Pope
As
is
a
in
result,
good health
very
after
few
having an
pirates
operation on a fractured
ever face
wrist.
justice.
He was injured in a
Well,
fall
what
at his
essentially we're dealing
holiday
with here
home
is
in
an
the
organized
Alps.
crime ring that is
The former
conducting armed
Iranian
robbery at
President
sea.
Akbar
For
Hashemi
them, success is being able to
has
rapidly get
revived
on
the
the ship
debate
before
about
anyone
last
can
month's
respond to it.
disputed
So
election,
what they do is
saying
they
many
lay in
people
wait
had
essentially
lost
until a
trust in
vessel
the
comes
political
along that they
system.
think they have a chance
In a
at,
sermon during
and then they do
Friday
a high-speed
prayers in
approach on that
Tehran,
vessel,
he also
typically
called for the
firing
release of opposition
AK-47s or
supporters
rocket-propelled
who were
grenades
imprisoned
in
during
order to prevent the
post-election
crew
rallies.
from stopping them boarding,
BBC
and then
News.
rapidly get on the ship,
40 years
secure
ago
the
today, Apollo 11 was en
crewmen,
route for the moon.
and then
The
basically
distant
take the vessel
satellite
to
was
one
soon
of
to
their
become a real
anchorages where they can then
touchable
carry out their
reality.
negotiations
In
for
45 minutes,
ransom money.
Winterson continues to offer
Those
her own
ransoms
artistic
can reach tens of
reflections, and
millions
today
of
she
dollars
considers
for a
man's
single ship
imaginary
and
earlier
take
attempts
weeks to
reach
resolve.
the moon.
During
That's
that
the
time,
inconstant
hostages
period
are
at
rarely hurt,
3:45, and later
but
at
shipping
4:30,
companies
the
lose
director, Duncan
hundreds of
Jones,
millions of
discusses
dollars
his
in
space
potential
drama,
revenue
Moon,
each
in
year
the film
from the
programme.
seizure of their
But now
vessels.
back down to earth.
The cargo ships traversing this very dangerous region have begun to take a number of precautions. They're not technically allowed under the law to carry weapons, though some
Avoiding
are.
gardening injuries
Others are
and
taking
101
precautions
uses
like
for
this
dead
one,
pigs.
laying out concertina wire, razor
Yes, this
wire
week
along
we're
the
in the
deck
county
and
of
putting fire hoses. The high pressure of that water makes it very, very difficult for pirates to get on board. If they do, they can get tangled up in the razor wire.
Also in the programme, though, we'll be visiting Roy Lancaster's
Shipping companies now
Hampshire garden.
inform NATO
We'll
of
hear
their
the
most
story behind
vulnerable
the noble
ships,
plant, which
slow
was collected
movers
as
with
seed
decks
from a
low
scrawny
to the
bush
waterline.
on a windswept
And the
mountain
pirates are
in
going to go after the
Taiwan.
easy target, much like car thieves would
Collected
do
from
for,
beneath a scrawny
easy
bush
cars
on
to break
windswept
into.
hill in Northampton
The
shows
Americans
our
also
team,
insist
and
ships that
swing
want
back, Bob
protection
Flaggio and
stick
Bunny
to just
Guinness
two
for all their
parallel
humble
lanes through the
A
Gulf.
noble
It
garden
makes protection
press.
easier by keeping all the sort of sheep in the right place, and it also allows us to kind of patrol a given area and keep all the, I guess, the vessels that would be at risk together, where we can keep an eye on them.
Many of them now
I have
travel
what
in
passes for an
lengthy
adequate
convoys,
lawn,
escorted by a
bumpy in
warship or
places,
two
An
for
interesting
protection.
selection of weeds battling with the grass and some idyllically placed bulbs. I don't want to reseed it or turf it, but is there something useful
And when
not
attacks
too
do happen,
labour-intensive
the
I
first
could do
indication
to
comes
improve
into
it
the
for this
Winnipeg's
summer?
operations room.
Right, so it's
Pirates typically
executes
seize a
a
ship
lawn
in
like
10
millions
minutes
of
or
others.
give up before warships in the area can respond. And sometimes the
You can
nearest
always
help
try
is
feeding
simply
it.
too far
You
away,
don't
as the
normally.
Canadians
I've
discovered
got
when they
mixed
received a
feelings about
panicked
lawns. I
distress
think if you're
call
on a
from
fairly
this
poor
ship,
soil, you
the
need to
Irene M.
work quite
The radio
hard to
transmissions
keep
were
the
pretty
lawn
eerie.
good.
We were listening
And
to
you do
the
need to
cries
feed
for
it a
help
bit
and
because
that the
it
attack
needs
was
to
in
be able to
progress.
compete with
We were
weeds
trying to
and always do
gather
better
all
than
the
lawn
information that we
grasses.
could. And as we were gathering that information and trying to ask more questions, the voice would come across and indicate that the vessel had already been hijacked and it's over. It seemed like a pirate's voice to us in all indication. And after that, there was no more transmissions from the motor vessel
I
Irene
think
M.
you could also. Is it a very
Here's
large
another
lawn?
frantic distress
No,
call.
not very big. So you could tackle some of the weed patches that are particularly irritating. If you've got dandelions or plantains that send out big flat
Hit by RPGs.
or large sort of isolated clumps of cream.
Engineering on Take station control, come to CBC Crossfire. Copy. I have the con.
Weed killers that
Roger,
can
20,
just
30
on
knots
a clump, one clump of weed.
Okay.
And then, of course, when it's died off, you could
Within
just put some
seconds, the
topsoil on
Winnipeg
and
is
reseed
ready
those patches.
for the
There are
rescue.
little things you can do.
When
Yes.
stopped, pirates often claim they are merely fishermen.
Of course, none of your neighbours.
But the tell-all are their ladders, used to board cargo ships but difficult to camouflage. So when on a routine patrol, Winnipeg's helicopter crew saw this one, the chase was on.
Move to the front of the boat!
These pirates, spread out over 2 boats, at first plead
So
innocence.
you pee in
The Canadian
alternate
boarding
fills of
team
the water.
searches through their boats.
I see.
On the first, the weapons were
Running in
easy
it.
to find.
My whole
The pirates hadn't had the time to throw them overboard.
I went to visit
On the second, the guns are well hidden, tucked in a crevice under the engine. Their weapons are confiscated. But again, because these pirates had not yet hijacked the vessel, there is no case for prosecution, and so they are set free, like those before them.
They were totally unarmed and incapable of doing any kind of piracy-related activity until they were able to replenish themselves, which could take days. And days in itself is time. Time for them is money, and we took that away from them.
But he's got a big lawn.
That,
so if he
of
did,
course, is but a temporary
you'd have
success.
to do it
A
an
battle
awful
won,
lot and get all
while
his
the war
men
continues.
to do it as well.
The pirates know
One
the
has
limits of
staff
both
to do
Canada's
that.
mission and international law.
I'm not naive enough to believe that
Silly.
we've in any way solved this problem, and that there will need to be a continuing presence in the short term to make sure that piracy remains an ineffective way of doing business.
NATO is now extending and expanding its counter-piracy mission.
And so you get the lovely flowers.
More
you get the
ships
herbs,
deployed for
and
longer.
You don't have all
That, though,
work,
will
and
only
you
do
don't
so
worry.
much
I
until
think
pirates
he
are
must have
taken
hinted
off
at
the water,
things like dandelion,
where the
because
country
in
they
my
come
law,
from is
I'm
stabilized.
getting it that way,
Modern-day
not
piracy
nearly as good as his.
will only
I
grow.
do have the odd sort of bigger
David
weed,
Common,
which
CBC
looks
News,
pretty
on board
awful,
HMCS
dandelion,
Winnipeg
and so you have
in
to
the Gulf
flick
of Aden.
those out. But for the little, better behaved weeds, I think it's great. So I would just fill in your